One of the main topics that we talk about on this channel is personal finance, and I made a video on the past talking about financial independence. For those of you that are new, financial independence is essentially reaching the point with your personal finances that you're no longer dependent upon an employer. You have complete freedom and control over your own money, and as a result, you have a lot more freedom to make certain decisions within your own life. This is a large goal of mine, and I know that it is for a lot of other people. So in today's video, I figured that I would talk about the different levels of financial independence. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I go by The Mengineer, and I make videos on how to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. When a lot of people hear about financial independence for the first time, they get really excited, but that goal is a long, far process away, and some people have a tendency to get burnt out. So it's good to know what some of the different benchmarks might be so that you can look back and get excited when you've achieved those benchmarks and see your progress over time. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into what I consider to be the levels of financial independence. Starting off with level 1 is going to be knowing what you want. So this first step is actually not going to involve you making money or saving money in any form. In fact, what you're going to do is try to get crystal clear on what you want out of your future. Everybody is different. There are some people that can get by on only $40,000 a year and be perfectly happy, and there's other people that want to live pretty luxurious lifestyles where they get to travel every month, go to whatever restaurant they want, and that type of lifestyle is going to require a very different amount of cash compared to the lifestyle of someone who only spends like $40,000 a year. So you want to take a good hard look at yourself and decide, how do I want to live in the future? What exactly do I want out of life? For me personally, I know that I want to travel at least once or twice a year, but I'm the type of person who gets a lot of happiness out of going and doing things like hiking, going to the gym, or making things with my own hands. And luckily, a lot of those things actually don't require that much money. So the amount of money that I would need to achieve financial independence is a lot lower than someone else who might want to be doing all the other things that I mentioned already. It's important to get clear on this so you can actually have an understanding of what your end goal is. If you're the type of person who can live off of the $40,000 a year and you are making a pretty good salary, then you can actually reach financial independence really early. But if you're the type of person who's trying to live a lifestyle of someone who's like at 80K or 120K a year, then it's likely that you're going to have to save 2 to 3 times as much as the first person. So it's probably going to take you longer. This is also dependent upon your income, but it's something that you need to be thinking about. Once you've got that figured out, you're going to move on to level 2 of financial independence, and that's going to be getting yourself out of debt. Debt is something that you're going to have to pay back. There is honestly no way around it. So the money that's coming in truly isn't yours until you've paid back that debt. Once you've eliminated your debt, it gives you a lot more freedom in how you choose to spend your money. You can choose to spend it on going on vacations or going to nice restaurants, or you can choose to save it. It's really up to you. But in order to do that, you first have to get the debt paid down, because otherwise that debt is always going to be hanging over your head. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced, you might see that your debt has a low interest rate in comparison to what you could get in like the market, and you might choose to invest instead. But if you're new to financial independence and these concepts of personal finance, I would not start there. I would start with going ahead and trying to get your debt paid off as fast as possible. There's a few different methods for this that I definitely did not come up with. These are from other people online in the personal finance space, but there's the snowball method and the avalanche method. The snowball method is starting with the smallest chunk of debt that you have, paying that off as fast as possible, and then moving on to the next largest and the next largest. The idea is that this helps a lot of people to build momentum in paying off their debt, because most people are just paying the little bits here and there. So by starting small and getting that quick win, you'll start to build up the momentum. Avalanche is kind of the opposite of that, where you start with the biggest chunk of debt first, and you get that paid off and you move on to the next biggest debt. Both of these are in a way meant to help you build momentum, and they can be really good ways for helping you get out of debt quickly. Again, you need to sit down and make a plan for yourself so you actually start making progress towards this goal. And once you get yourself out of debt, then your money is yours to choose how you allocate it. And once you're there, we're gonna go ahead and move on to level 3 of financial independence. Level 3 is going to be building yourself an emergency fund. In my opinion, it is best to have at least 6 months of your living expenses in place. There are other people that recommend a year, but I think at a minimum you should have the 6 months. You want this to be in cash in just a simple savings account that you're going to have easy access to no matter what. This emergency fund is going to serve as a cash cushion in case anything bad happens. Life is unpredictable and large expenses can just randomly pop up. That can be a car expense, having to replace your roof or your HVAC, but either way, you're going to need the money. By having your emergency fund, it allows you to be able to pay that off without it affecting your other plans too much. It also allows you to pay it off without potentially going back into debt that you then might end up causing to get larger and larger again. The emergency fund is going to be crucial because this is going to be what starts giving you more leverage to make some of those big decisions in your life that you may not have been able to do before. For instance, if you're thinking about starting a business or quitting your job, your emergency fund can serve as a cash cushion so you actually have some time to figure things out. It's going to give you a little bit more flexibility and make it so you're not so dependent on your employer. But this is just the third level in the levels of financial independence. This third level is really where you're going to be establishing those good saving habits, figuring out how to cut down your expenses so that you can then start to just continue those habits that you've already established and move towards the other levels of financial independence. From level 3, we're going to move into level 4, which is going to be getting yourself up to $100,000 saved. Now, this is going to be a little bit different than $100,000 in an emergency fund. You do not need this all to be in a savings account. It does not all need to be easily accessible. This is where you're going to start moving into things such as investing. For those that are first learning about personal finance, what I really recommend you do is opening up a Roth IRA or contributing to your employer 401k. Both of these are going to be tax advantaged routes for you to save a lot of money. Once you start saving money into these accounts, you can then choose to invest them in different funds. This is going to potentially allow your savings to grow at a much quicker rate. Usually savings accounts have a pretty low interest rate, whereas investing in different funds that actually track different companies tend to see higher returns. However, it is important to note that there is always a risk associated with investing. It is not guaranteed that you will make a return on your money. So always make sure that you do your own research and any financial decisions that you make are your own. Now, when a lot of people first start learning about investing, they get really excited and start wanting to start picking out individual stocks. I know that I was one of those people, and I read a few books on how you can make sure that you're picking good stocks. However, the important thing to note is historically, most people fail to beat the market. This has been shown even in professional investing companies, things where they have actively managed funds with managers that specifically choose stocks to get you to the best investment that they possibly can. It is incredibly rare for even these professionals to beat the annual returns of the stock market. So in my opinion, it is best for you to invest in lower risk things such as index funds that just track the stock market. Following an index is going to give you the same returns as a stock market. And while there are instances where the stock market has gone down, such as the 2008 financial crisis, for the most part, you see an upwards trend throughout history. This is going to be a good low-cost option for a lot of people to get their investing journey started. As you put money in there, it's going to start growing through the power of compounding interest, and you're going to reach that 100,000 faster than you thought. And from level 4, you're going to just jump straight into level 5. You're going to just keep doing exactly as you are doing. From here on, your goal is likely to get to the 4% rule. The 4% rule is a concept that if you withdraw 4% of your portfolio, it should be able to sustain you successfully for 30 years. This is a benchmark that a ton of personal finance and financial independence people on the internet use as their benchmark for retirement. So essentially what you're gonna wanna do is figure out what your annual expenses are. And then you're gonna wanna get your portfolio to the point where a 4% withdrawal covers at least your annual expenses. In my personal opinion, it's better to have more or have some additional income streams that could cover you just in case, but that's going to at least cover your annualized expenses. Now, this may seem pretty boring, but you're pretty much just going to keep doing what you've already been doing up to this point. I know, it's not exciting, it's not crazy, you're not gonna be hitting that goal super fast or crazy, but it is the simple and easy way to build your wealth. Now you might be thinking, if this benchmark is what people use for retirement, what's the next level of financial independence? That's gonna bring us to level 6. Now, the nice thing about level 6 is you may technically reach it before you retire. So it could end up being level 3.5, level 4.5 type of thing, but it is always possible to reach it before you actually retire. And what that's going to be is finding some form of work that is meaningful to you. In my opinion, a lot of people make a classic mistake when it comes to financial independence or retiring early, and that's the idea that once they reach it, they are done working. Now, I recognize that I'm a little different than most people, but I would say if you went from 8 hours a day of working to suddenly doing nothing, then you might end up getting bored of it after a little bit. I know myself, and I would have to be doing something. I would have to be finding some other way to keep myself preoccupied, whether that was through some sort of thing like woodworking or going to the gym and help training other people. But there's just no way that I could go from a 40-hour work week to absolutely nothing. And that's why I consider that to be the 6th level of financial independence, is when you find work that you really enjoy, it's something that you want to keep doing every day. But the nice thing about this level of financial independence is, say doing this thing would require you to take a pay cut. If you've reached that point of financial independence where you've hit the 4% rule, then the pay cut's not going to matter. Your expenses are already going to be covered. So you can go to this job that pays you a lot less, but you enjoy it a lot more. And on the side, you'll make a little bit of money. So that will help to offset your withdrawal rate from your retirement accounts. The reason I say that you can reach this level earlier is there are some people who decide that this is more worth it to them than the other routes of financial independence. So they choose to go to this job or do this thing much earlier than other people, and they'll work longer, but they'll enjoy the job that they're doing for much further. But that brings us to the end of today's video, everyone. If you found the information in today's video to be helpful or informative at all, please be sure to leave me a like and subscribe to the channel to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you have any of your own thoughts, ideas, or opinions, be sure to let me know with a comment down below. I like to read and respond to all of them. If you're interested in more of my videos where I talk about personal finance related topics, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about what to do to prepare for a recession. If you're more interested in my more recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is the Mengineer, signing off.